Morning.
Good morning, everybody.
So I got another question for you, Matt. That's not near as invasive as the one I just asked you
Oh,
off
yeah,
screen.
wasn't it? It's not invasive. I'm just not prepared to answer.
Why? Why are his legs so long?
Because McFarlane.
Yeah, I'm noticing this. By the way, my wife got me this. It was like $8, and yes, I am going to take it apart for parts, and yes, Matt is going to get the body. Um, I really like this look for Black Adam. Like, I actually very much like this design.
Sure.
But Jesus Christ, Todd, his legs are longer than his torso by a considerable amount.
I mean, they went with the standard comic book female proportions. So
I guess. Cool figure. Like, I actually very much like this design. It makes Black Adam look very, very cool. I wish his legs were like, I wish his feet started like right here, but then he wouldn't be 7 inches.
right.
Which
Well,
I'm
then
guessing that's
they
all.
could have made the rest of it more proportional.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's Todd's thing. He needs it to be 7 inches
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
because Marvel Legends only 6 inch, so Todd must be 7
I don't know what the rationale. I mean, his stuff has always been bigger.
because Todd.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, it's. They are made for walking, Mitch.
Hey, Mitch.
They're all like that, and it's.
Yeah, Constantine's got some pins on him.
He's got some gams. Look at them gams on John Constantine. Look at him, baby. So yeah, anyway. Sorry, I'm just like, I was very weirded out by that. How are you? How is everyone this morning?
I'm a little tired. I'm still kind of getting my feet under me here, but I'm doing all right. I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm also very tired.
You seem energetic.
I am fake it till you make it mode.
All
I've been
right.
downstairs for a couple hours and I've been doing some organizing. By the way, the next time you want to part with some of these boxes, I will take them as I'm using them to put stuff that needs to be painted in them.
Oh yeah.
So they're not just in a bucket or
Yeah.
plastic bags. So yeah, and I know you probably saw this in our chat this morning. I got rid of all of. That's true. Good point, Mitch. Oh, how was that? Please tell us how that first shovel was, because I know that pain.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
The first time I shoveled, I was like, "This is bullshit. Why did I do this to myself?" I got rid of all my, not all, but almost all of my. I think maybe I did get all my Marvel Legends, and I had 2 tubs of superhero figures that I just had that they were going to be for my nephews to play with. But I mean, let's be honest, they're never going to be here.
Yeah.
And they're just disinterested pretty much. I think I'm Spike. I think I mentioned this on a previous Prep Boys. I have a new tactic with them. When I walk in and see them, I just go, "Gentlemen," and then I walk away, which has them intrigued slightly. So they're not quite as like.
They're not resistant. Yeah.
They're not quite as much like the twins from The Shining. Because my only other in with them during Thanksgiving was I showed them the video of your toy room. And they were like, because they love Transformers, they were like, "Oh my God." Because normally when I do see them, I will get a high and a buy.
Sure.
And they will spend the majority of their time in a room together playing with all of the mashup toys I got them from Hasbro. But they want nothing to do with me. It's never like, and they've never been like, "Hey, thanks for those toys." It's always just like been like,
you're right.
They're just. I told my wife I don't think they could give a shit about me as a person.
Which
Unlike my other niece and nephew, who are just like, My nephew's 18 and will like be on top, literally like hanging on me. Sometimes I have to physically move him, and he's almost my size off of me. He's a very clingy young man, which isn't bad. This is what it is. He's a very huggy boy. Um, yeah, shoveling's rough. People don't realize I have a really long driveway, and shoveling is
It can get real nasty.
Yeah, shoveling my driveway takes about an hour. It's when I'm done, I'm like, God. Ugh. So yeah, and my niece is awesome. We text like all the time, mainly memes. But and my other nephew, my brother's son, is just too busy. He had 3 games in the last 6 days, and he led his team. They won every game, and he led the team scoring, and he had triple double one night. Yeah. Plus, he's like my brother. He doesn't want to talk. So I don't even get texts from him. He's just like, yes. Yeah. I mean, that part of my wife's family is just, you know, it is what it is. Oh, 46. Ugh. That's rough. So anyway.
Oh yeah, that's plenty of snow. At least yeah, dry is nice. The wet snow will, man, oof. You got to be careful with that.
You're welcome to jump in tomorrow night if you want, my friend.
No, I actually I forgot it was, I knew it was coming up, and then I'm like, crap. But no, I've got crap going on. So
You say that, Super Spike, but when the lady who lives behind us was still with her weirdo property bro's husband, he would go back behind their garage, their brand new garage, with a fucking flamethrower.
like a paint stripper sort of deal,
Yeah, and he would burn all the weeds down. I was always like, this is gonna be great the moment you set our fucking backyard on fire, you jackass. And since they haven't been together for a number of years now, the between our back fence and her behind her garage is now a miasma of all sorts of things. So I just cut it down and leave it in her back little area there. Just as a big fuck you.
I mean, she obviously doesn't care one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, my neighbors are, some of them are, again, they're like my nephews. Some are very, very, very nice, and some are not pricks. Anywho, now that we've gone on. Oh, anyway, what I was saying is I gave those 2 things of toys to Colin for his fill-ins. And I was like, oh, tell me when you give them, because like take some video, because I want to hear about this. And he was like, well, we're gonna wait for Christmas. And then this morning he was like, we gave one of them. We gave a tub to the kids. I was like, where the fuck is my video? Because I did the same thing with Legos a couple years ago. I had like 5 or 6 tubs worth of Legos, and I mean like tubs. And I gave them to my friends who had kids. And
yeah, I've got a bunch of crap in the garage. I don't have any friends with kids that would probably want them, but
I mean, it depends what they are.
It's mostly like G.I. Joe type vehicle stuff. Not really G.I. Joe vehicles, but it's a lot of that.
Like 3 3/4 stuff.
Yeah, I had picked it up as a I'm going to customize this, and obviously never did. So
yeah, I still have some board games to give you to donate to your folks. Were you able to ever get those board games from David to donate?
It's Dave, so I'm working on it.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, it'll take how long it takes. He's going through stuff. He's cleaning.
And last night I was desperately looking for my Hellboy 5e book, because I've had a hankering to. My wife also got me Sword of Hyperborea for my birthday.
Oh,
and of course I read that in like fucking 10 minutes. She also got me Kill 'Em All, which I know that you loaned me and I'd read before, but I instantly was like, this is the first thing I grabbed. I was like, I need to read this again. It's so good.
Kill 'em all. Oh, is that
Starks?
Okay, it is that one. I was blanking for a second.
And then the first Grant Morrison Batman omnibus,
Ooh.
which all those issues went to Colin when he bought all my comics. So I'm just like, oh God, I get to read those all again. I'm so excited. But anyway, so I read Sword of Hyperborea, which is associated with Hellboy BPRD stuff, which gives away the end of Hellboy BPRD. So if you haven't read all that stuff and then you read that, you're like, oh God, it does. The happy ending is not the ending, huh? Yes, Super Spike was gave us a review of -1. I've heard it's great.
Seen it today.
Are you really?
Yep.
It's personal, Matt. You son of a bitch.
Yeah, we got. Well, see, we went on Monday. We went on Monday with a friend. We were gonna go with a couple friends of ours, and we saw To Live and Die in L.A. at the Trial.
Oh, how is that?
Oh, To Live and Die in L.A. is great. I mean,
yeah, I just you said it. I imagine that would be an interesting watch in a theater.
Yeah, no, it was good. I mean, I owned it. And I could have sworn at some point that I, had Danny sit down and watch it.
It's a
She didn't,
solid flick. It's a very solid flick.
she didn't remember it at all.
Is
And
that a Michael Mann movie?
it's William Friedkin.
Friedkin. Okay.
Yep.
Friedkin did some interesting stuff all over the place.
Oh, Friedkin's great. But our other friend hadn't seen it at all, and he was the one who would kind of, he had seen it come up, and he's like, "Hey, you guys want to go?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'd go. I mean, I know it, but I definitely go and see it in the theater." And they both loved it.
I mean, can you see where I thought it might be a Michael Mann movie though?
Oh, absolutely, definitely.
It has that's what's amazing about all Michael Mann stuff feels like Michael Mann.
Yes.
But Friedkin, that does not feel like a William Friedkin movie.
I mean, in some ways it does. I mean, it's got similar themes to French Connection.
Yes, there's some of it there.
It's got that just unrelenting tension that Sorcerer has.
Yeah. I mean, I think visually.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's Michael Mann movie, the visual language.
That's fair.
40 talk.
But anyway,
yeah,
our other friend, or our friend, his wife had to bow out. She wasn't feeling super great.
I'm sorry, friend of Matt.
She's fine now. It was just a temporary deal. But so we were talking about I really want to go see, we should go see Godzilla, because I knew the one friend that had made it would want to see that, and I'm like, but I don't know if she'd be into that. And he's like, oh no, she wanted to see it. And so we made plans. We're all going today.
So I watched someone who I generally like to watch on YouTube talk about it, and they were self-admitted before they went and saw it, they were like, so I like Godzilla. I like kaiju movies, but I mainly like it to watch guys in suits beat the shit out of each other.
Yes, I was dismayed at this.
Yeah, they were like, I generally don't like Kenny's, and generally the human parts of these movies annoy me. And then he showed himself after the movie and he gave his review, and he was like, this is the first time maybe since OG Godzilla movie where I was completely invested in the human characters to the point of I was like, man, I hope Godzilla does not kill these people. I really, really, really hope they live. His thing was like, this is more to that OG style of Godzilla is a complete force of nature.
Yeah.
And terrifying in the fact that he just shows up, breaks shit, and leaves. It feels like you're constantly on the edge of your seat because he could be there at any time, and that the devastation will be wanton, and there is no rhyme or reason for it. That's what he said too, Mitch. He was like, it is actually hits you in the feels. And I was like, that's awesome. And he said this is a movie worthy of Oscar consideration. So I'm very very intrigued.
I was bummed when I saw that it they weren't using that they're using a CG Godzilla, but
It looks great.
it does. But
It looks so good.
I'm a suit guy. I like the suits.
I'm a suit guy as well. I think you can do a lot of good things with suits. But I also realized that if you do CGI in a fun way with nods,
Yeah, I'm not.
this motherfucker. Have you seen Big Man Japan?
I have not. I've heard good things about it. But
Yeah, Big Man Japan has that vibe too, where you're like, oh man, this movie would have been amazing with the suit guy, but like it's made to kind of feel suitish.
Okay.
So yeah, it's anyway, it's also like Big Man Japan. It has a little bit of like an Ultraman vibe to it.
Yeah.
You should watch it. You'll enjoy it.
I've heard good things about it. It just hasn't, percolated up on the list of stuff.
Yeah, I still need to watch. Maybe I'll watch Kamen Rider today. We started watching some Forge Lab stuff last night, and we've got like 3/4 of one video left, and then he and his buddies dropped another. They're doing like a winter survival thing, where one of the guys playing, it's like if you die, you die. One of the 4 guys in their little group died in like the first 10 minutes of the first video.
Oh.
It was amazing. He was like, oh God, no, save me. And they're like, nope, fuck you, I'm out. Nice. So anyway, let's present. So I'm hoping at any point to get video from Colin and Tarm.
Well, it sounds like they're all a little under the weather right now. So
yeah, I just desperately want to see, like, I don't have kids, so watching kids get like pumped about stuff is really and since I don't work directly with folks anymore, that'd be one of my great joys in life, is seeing folks I served or that I worked with, especially youth who sometimes like had nothing and came from places where they never got anything.
Yeah,
get stuff, and like the absolute joy and rapture on their face when they were like, oh, life is amazing. It's a heartwarming thing. And that's why I like Christmas. I was just telling Matt, I like to get people stuff because it's a way where it's a way of me carrying on tradition of my father. And it's a way for me to show my affection. But also, like, I like to see the joy in people's face. And I will tell you, Matt, what I tell my own family. If you don't tell me what you want or to give me ideas, or secondly, if you bitch about getting something, you will get far more stuff.
Well, I don't ever,
because then I will give gifts out of spite, and no one wants that. My family gets something every year, and they have learned not to bitch about it because they know I will send more. One time they made a mistake about bitching about it, like in March, and I waited till midway through the year, and I was like, "Oh, it's Christmas in July," and they were like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, Christmas in July because you guys bitched in March. Look how it works. I make just enough money to make your life fucking miserable. Don't make me do it. If you don't want it, donate it, because somebody out there does." This is my way of showing you I love you. Don't ever fucking question that. It's probably why we will probably never get along. If I could find the right words to say it, I wouldn't have to sing these motherfucking songs. That's understandable, Mitch. That's understandable. My gift giving changes based upon my current relationships with people. So if we're good, and if we're good, you're getting some shit. But if we're not good, you ain't getting shit. And that means your spouse, your children, your dog, you ain't getting nothing. So, but I'm a dick that way. I've been told that. I'm a giant prick. So, get used to it. Hey, when we're in for a penny, in for a pound. But when we're out, we're out. Actually, not. I try not to be that way, but I can be very much. Hey, yeah. we get stuff for dogs. Dogs are parts of families.
Yeah, we don't I don't get anything for Danny's family just because I don't care.
That's fair.
She doesn't want me to. or wouldn't.
That's also fair.
Wouldn't expect me to. We tell them not to get stuff for us. They always do. But it's obviously the kind of like obligatory gift giving where they don't know what we want or care to find out, but they feel like they have to get us something.
Yeah.
So it's like here's a bunch of like candy and here's some socks.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, the socks fine. I'd like them more.
Everybody needs sock.
I would like them more if they were the kind of socks that I enjoy wearing. But socks is socks. But it's like I don't don't get me anything just because you feel like you have to. That's dumb. I don't like it.
So gifts should never be a obligation.
And well, yeah, and so like Danny and I don't get anything for each other either. Part of it's like if I run across something where I'm like, oh, Danny will love this,
then you just get it for her,
and she won't buy it for herself, then sure. But I'm not necessarily inclined to
retaliate. gift retaliation is amazing, Mitch.
But yeah, she's pretty good about getting stuff she needs, and it's like they're like, oh, it must be easy to get stuff for Matt because you just get him an action figure, and she's like, are you an idiot?
Yeah,
like he already has all that stuff.
Wow.
I would never get
with
Matt
that
an action
choice.
figure.
I have with my brother's son, because he lives far away. I do to him what our well-off uncle did to us when we were young. Is I just send him money, because my uncle was like, I'm not going to try to buy you something because you're too, especially when you became a teenager. He's like, I'm just giving you money because I know you want to go to like some type of like football camp or basketball.
Yeah, you want to have an experience. Money to pay for
that. Yeah. I mean, basically, honestly, he helped me go to KU basketball camp 3 years. He helped me go to Bill Ma's football camp, which was crazy expensive. And I even had a scholarship to that. But yeah, I mean, so I do that for him because I don't know what he wants. We don't talk. We for a while we played Minecraft together a couple years ago, but he's fucking busy. He plays every sport. He's president of what is it? Future Farmers of FFA. Yeah, FFA.
Yeah.
Future Farmers of America.
Yep.
He's just busy. I was a busy kid. So, and I know that living in that fucking town, you need to be. Because if you're not, you will get into some shit. So, yeah. And my other nephew is, like I said, just turned 18. All he wants is stuff for his car.
Okay. Yeah.
And his stepnephew, or his stepbrother, is older. He's just my nephew. I don't call my stepnephew. That's dumb. He just moved into a new place, so he needs kitchen shit because he's now finally living by himself. He doesn't have roommates.
Okay.
He's like, I need stuff for my kitchen. I need like implements. My niece is kind of hard, but I mean, she's a gothy girl, so you just get her gothy stuff. Also, she's like 16, so it's like she's just excited to get whatever. And then the young nephews, one loves fucking Pokemon and Bumblebee, and the other one loves Godzilla and dinosaurs. So it's easy.
Oh yeah, you got a good run for a while there.
Yeah. So, and that used to be the only conversations we could have was about Godzilla, and now unless I force the conversation, he's like not interested. Like I said, that's what's led to Gentlemen, and then moving on. They loved your basement. So if you ever want to shoot a little more videos just for them and my brother-in-law, who, as you well know, is all about them videos of your basement.
I'm definitely...
Matt, what I'm saying is give me more toy porn of your basement.
I'm definitely in flux down here, but hopefully I'll be in a better spot soon with a lot of that. That is the plan anyway. I'm working towards it. I've got a bunch of, just keep listing stuff on eBay and getting it out of here. And
well, they don't give a shit about like if it's in flux. They just like to look at it. They're like,
oh I know. I just want to, it's from me.
I had to slow that video down so they could comb over it like there was a crime scene footage. She's not as much into that. She's got into horror movies now, so now that's like our big,
oh, there you
So like I gave her my Shutter login, and she's been like, "Oh God." So yeah, we get her stuff like that, and also she does a lot of painting. Her dad's stepmom, her dad's mom owns a gallery and does like art, so they do a lot of art stuff together. Although it's pretty interesting. Cool. She's a very good artist. I mean, terrifyingly good. For like a whole like year and a half, it was just sculpture. All she did was like do sculpture. So it depends. She's got real bad ADHD, so just kind of where her energy goes.
You know, you live you grab what you can grab.
And will not take medication. She took medication for a while and it was a lot better, but she stopped taking meds, and she's a fucking whirlwind. So yeah, happy holidays to people.
Well, and also happy belated birthday
to you. Thank you, man. Yeah, we had a pretty
that yesterday, and then we ended up not walking. So
yeah, I'm kind of glad we didn't, because it snowed after like at 10:30. It was snowing.
Yeah.
And I went out and we put a new cage around the tree, and I pulled gutters and all that stuff. So, and then Doug came over and we watched 4 episodes of Mountain Monsters.
Nice.
So we are now at the werewolf episode.
Okay.
Werewolf of like Washburn County or something like that.
Something. I don't know. We actually finished the series.
You guys.
We just, it's an easy watch. But so
are you watching Mountain Monsters by the Fire now?
We did watch By the Fire, and we're done with that as well. Because there's only 8 of those or 10 of those or something. I might have to rewatch the last couple of those, because last night we were watching them and I was, I was a sleepy boy. So,
well, sleepy boys are okay.
I missed some stuff. They apparently had a well, because it's mostly them. They're rewatching stuff. They're rewatching episodes and kind of.
So are they like doing commentary tracks? Is that what this is?
Kind of, okay, yeah. Fair. I mean, but it's those guys, so it's just like, oh yeah. But
put a little ass into it, Buck.
They have a bit of a. They add, there's some new stuff there for people who have seen the episodes or whatever. So I apparently missed them having a farting contest.
Well, I mean, now you have to go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
All right. So I know we generally were. Colin will be just. I thought Doug was going to jump on today to work on this with us, but
it's just us.
It's just you and I. I just realized I said Woodlack. Let's work a little bit on this. At least get a little bit of work in.
Sure.
It's good. It's good to talk to you, Matthew.
Yes, it is good to talk to you as well. Yeah, I just been, doing my thing.
I was gonna say you did miss a really fun Spoopy Boys, Nashy Boys. That was really good. And then Friday, we did Friday the 13th and Bigfoot. And we had a full house of people.
Oh, nice.
There was 5 people playing.
Wow.
And we had a lot of people in the chat who were amazing, all young. And then it was great. It was super fun. Everybody had a great time. Hopefully we'll play some more. I think in 2 weeks we're playing Lethal Company.
Okay.
Which I've yet to play. I have, but I've yet to play, and it is wild from what I've watched of that game. And then Doug and I might do a what Mine Colonies server, and it's Minecraft, but it's like you literally just it's like it's Minecraft with like a Civ builder built into it. So you end up like
okay
making a town And when you like find out what you need to build a building, and then you get it together, and then you basically a worker will show up who has stats and everything, who's not like just a nitwit, and then they build the house for you, and then they live there, and then they do the work.
Oh.
And people will use that to actually have like build countries and then have wars. And I was like, okay, this is kind of amazing. I kind of want to do this. That and Doug has convinced me to play WoW. OG WoW.
Oh God.
So I don't know if you're a WoW guy.
I was.
If you want to get in on that,
I'm not doing that. No.
Colin's gonna get in on it. We're gonna play OG WoW. I just kind of want to be like I just want to collect stuff and then sell it. I just want to be a shopkeeper. That's my whole goal in this WoW thing. Is I just want to get into the commerce end of WoW.
No, I lived that life for a long time.
Doug is a big WoW guy, and for a while, Kedron, Doug, and Carl got me to play with them, but like I am very much when I get in those giant open world games, I just want to kind of like go, oh, look at this is cool.
Yeah.
And they'd played it for so long that they were like, yeah, but let's go to the thing. And I was like, but I don't want to go to the thing. Like I don't care about that thing. So yeah, it totally is. It misses me because I don't if WoW was completely open world like Minecraft, then I might be fucked. If I could just go to a corner of the world and do whatever I wanted, and then occasionally deal with people, then I would be in trouble. Like if and no, dude's never gonna hear about this, but what the heck is his name? Atomic Duck, Mr. Atomic Duck. If the people on that Zomboid server on his Patreon would have been a little nicer, I would have lost my entire life in that server. Because what I did is I just set up a place where I was like, I would go out and loot, and then I would bring it back, and I would just give away stuff. People would pull up, and they're like, "Hey, do you have any of this?" And I'm like, "I do. Here, take it." And they'd be like, "Well, do you want anything?" I'm like, "Well, if you can spare this, I'll take it." And we would just kind of trade. Yeah. And like, this is great. Because I can come and get easy stuff from you, and then I don't have to grind for it. I can go do bigger things. And I was like, yeah, I don't mind the grind of Zomboid. I like the low level grind. And that was super fun, but there were some people that were just kind of prickish on there. Actually, I had somebody get mad that I was doing that. It was ruining their game experience. And I was like, how? I did make a barter town, and I found an area that was like supposedly going to eventually be an NPC area in a later build that they were doing. And this is why the person got pissed. Because like, you shouldn't be able to live there. I was like, okay, I guess.
What?
Like, I'm not doing anything wrong with it. I'm not even breaking anything here. I'm just putting things here. So I just went, me and a couple other people who I met on there who were great, went into the woods and built a big structure away from it. So, yeah, it was really weird. Like even I had to go and go, hey, I was accosted by some people on the server. And it's not a PvP server. Like they literally tried to hold me up for the shit I was carrying with guns.
What the hell?
And they were like, oh, that occasionally that'll happen. And I was like, yeah, but that's like explicitly against the rules.
Yeah, you
guys have just shit on me on the Discord like 4 or 5 times now about just giving stuff away. Do you see how that does not equivalent? There's no equivalency there?
Yeah.
Well, and I was like, okay, then what I know now is this is probably not for me. Your whitelist server, probably not for me, which sucks because it's a lot of fun. And I did meet some very, very, very cool people there. I had a couple people who literally pulled up, and I traded with them twice. And the third time they pulled up, they're like, hey, we're going to go raid Moldra. Do you want to come with? And I was like, well, I'm really equipped for that. And they're like, oh, we'll give you everything for you. You've been giving us food and all this other stuff. We know we just stop by and just give us stuff. So they like had a bunch of vehicles. I just got in and we went to Boulder and I came back with like a shit ton of stuff.
Oh.
And they're like, well, what are you gonna do with it? And I was like, I'm just give it away. And they're like, nice. And they're like, well, you build us a thing, just you'll store stuff for us. And I'm like, yeah, of course. So they gave me a car, and I left all the stuff for them in the trunk because you had to have keys to get into it, just so they could come back and open it up and take stuff. Like they asked me, like, hey, here's the 5 things we really, really want. And I was like, well, I could scavenge all that. Exactly, Shaggy. People are weird that way. You're ruining my experience on the server by giving things away. What? What? What about my experience? We're all paying the same amount. We're all on the Patreon.
Yeah.
Fucking people.
Fucking people.
It's rough, man. It's rough out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this today, Matt.
That's fine. We don't have to.
So let's keep chatting it. I want to talk about Star Wars.
Yes.
I want to talk about bird porn. I want to talk about bird lube. That's a Mim Bim Bam reference for those of you. I highly recommend. There's only six episodes of the TV show. Watch the fucking TV show. No, I want to talk about bird porn now. No, Griffin, we're not going to talk about that.
So, you and Doug are now up to, are you into season? You must be into season 2.
We are finally in season 2.
Okay.
All right.
Season 2 is all the Bigfoot edition stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I want to kind of talk about, and chat, please get in on this action. From
the back section.
From the back section. It's for the people in the butt. I'm looking for ideas.
Okay.
And deep cut ideas. So since you're not really into the thing right now, I feel like I can share this with you.
Okay.
So they met Jarek.
Yes.
And for those that don't know, Jarek is the villain from the Dark Forces video games. I'm going to just take this and move it into this. Why I'm missing a thing I was working on. And they met Jarek before Jarek becomes a part of the Empire.
Okay.
So also, like, so one thing I realized is Jarek and in Legends, a lot of those characters, they are called Inquisitors.
Oh.
And I was like, ugh, we already have Inquisitors in canon Star Wars, and they're a completely different vibe. Because the Inquisitors in Legends are far more dangerous. So I kind of want to keep them. So I was trying to figure out, oh, that's not what I want to do. I kind of want to keep the, I want to give them a different name. So I started thinking about calling them magistrates.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I'm planning on doing. Get rid of this. All right, sorry, I'm consolidating idea files. So this is my ideas file. I'm going to blow this up so people can. Also, I know Matt won't abuse this because he's A, doesn't have the greatest memory, and B, doesn't cheat.
Well, I don't know about that. I'll probably remember it, but I will definitely try not to.
Also, I found out
Metagame.
that I found out that 9 BBY is like that's where Obi-Wan takes place, or Kenobi.
Oh,
That's where like 9 BBY is kind of like a big fucking year.
there's a lot going on.
So I was like, okay, well, we're at the back end of 9 BBY because when they play tomorrow night, one of the things that they're going to find out is, God, I hope I have these things written down somewhere.
So what are these inquisitors that aren't inquisitors anymore? What is
They're
their
magistrates. So the way I kind of look at them as the magistrates, imperial magistrates, they're part of the Inquisitores,
okay?
but their job is not like Jedi eradication.
Okay.
They're more like a propaganda recruitment.
Mm.
So this Inquisitor who recruits Jarek, who will show up at the end of the episode, who again is a Legends character. Sorry, I'm pulling up my not now. I'm pulling up my Star Wars file here on my phone. Antinous Tremaine is the person who recruited Jarek in Legends.
Okay.
So he's going to show up. They're same branches of the same thing. He's going to show up and basically. So the whole thing I see playing out is they're going to go. They're at the Temple of Dawn. They're going to find out that the keepers in the temple have every Jedi they were housing there that was in basically being held there, like in meditation / like long-term sleep things for concern that they were falling to the dark side. So that's why you were sent to this place, because the High Council would go, oh, we don't want to just expel this person or whatever. We think they're savable.
Okay.
And they would offer to send them to this place. This is actually a real Star Wars Legends thing. And like you could go there and you could get better, but if you didn't, they literally just locked you up.
Oh.
In stasis. So it was kind of like a prison. It was like a spa retreat / prison. So there's all these thousands of Jedi here who have been here since this place existed. And my thing was, well, like, what happened with those Jedi? Because they say in no uncertain terms, the Empire never found this place. So what would happen if the 3 holocrons that run this place find out there is no Jedi Order? So my thought is the few Jedi that are there who are stewarding this place are forced to put all these people on a ship and go into the unknown regions, kind of as the arc.
Okay.
And then they take all the information they have in the Jedi library that's there, and they also just fire that off into random space. So if they're found, whoever finds them gets nothing.
Have you stated their title in the game yet?
Who?
The magistrates?
They haven't met the magistrates yet. So when they meet Jarek, what I found out about Jarek is Jarek left into the unknown regions before the Clone Wars.
Oh, well, I was just going to say...
Because he was all like, Jedi Council annoys me, and I want to know more than you're willing to teach me.
Yeah.
So I volunteer to go into the unknown regions and explore. And he comes back after the fall of the Republic. And he's like, what the fuck happened?
I was going to suggest, I think Indoctrinator is probably a little too on the nose or over the top.
Yeah.
But Advocate, maybe?
So my idea, God, I wish I could find my thing I was writing on. My idea was that they're magistrates, and then the step below them are adjudicators.
Okay.
And the magistrates are kind of like the higher version, like they're like the masters, I guess, and the adjudicators are like the knights or the Padawans.
Okay.
So I've been looking for a better name than magistrate. I kind of like magistrate as a name.
Magistrate's not bad. Yeah, I like Advocate a little bit,
Advocate's
but
not bad.
um,
Advocates and adjudicators. There it is. This is what I wanted. Um, I'm trying to remember what there's 3 holocrons that run this place. And I thought I'd written them down, which is good that I'm doing this because now I'm just consolidating all this in one fucking document. So I have to. I kind of want to be like, hey kids, be better at this than I am. Because I have just too much shit everywhere. And no, that's not it. Sorry, keep going. I'm not. I'm just struggling to.
Yeah, magistrate just sounds too, I guess, you know.
You think it sounds too. Oh God, that's good.
Yeah.
That's old. That's old boy. We're talking about new boy.
New boy.
Maybe in here.
Yes, they've been out of print for a while, but the price hasn't gone up. I grabbed the trades of the Contest of Champions series that Ewing did.
I just saw someone on that I follow on Macari had just put up the OG Contest of Champions trade for like $5. I'm very tempted.
It's not bad. The new one is really, I like the new one that Ewing did a lot, but it's Ewing. So I am bummed that apparently that Avengers Incorporated is only making it to issue 5. Like, what are you doing, Marvel, if you can't sell a freaking Avengers book written by Al Ewing? But
I have very little faith in Marvel or DC for that matter.
It's fair.
All right. Why can't I find this stupid fucking thing?
Well, it's time well spent then, because you're gonna need it anyway.
I mean, I can always just look it back up. It's just frustrating when I'm like, oh hey,
I know I had a thing and now I don't.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my Star. The problem is I had too many Star Wars things like running at a time.
Yeah.
I would love to see Al Ewing go to DC and do some Fourth World stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I'd honestly be fine if he just decided to do more of his own stuff too.
Did you read the thing about the comic book shop owner who was just shitting on writers? That apparently blew up online.
I think I caught like some of the periphery of it, but didn't get into the the specifics of it. I was too, wrapped up in Elon's AI not being racist enough for his adherents, and then
if that dude's name is on anything, I just I'm
and then Mark Millar,
gotta hate Mark Millar.
Yeah, well, no, he was, he's palling around on Twitter with Ethan Van Sciver now. So,
well, Millar was the guy who went to this guy's defense and was like,
Yeah, that's probably how I caught some of the over splash on that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's such a piece of shit.
he really is.
He is the
I
worst.
didn't realize that he had sold all of Millar World to um, Netflix, so now he doesn't even own any of that. He created his whole thing and then turned it into work for hire.
Yeah, he's fucking awful. He really is.
Yeah.
He's awful, and like people warned fans about how awful he was. Like, there's a reason, like that Morrison won't refer to him by his name anymore.
I think Morrison is very regretful of the
Yeah,
role
working with him.
played. Well, I mean, Millar's career is
Yeah,
thanks to Morrison.
yeah. Um, I just,
Yeah,
dude's a piece of shit.
sure is. But he seems to be um, very. He just keeps killing his any relevance he had. So he's off in his own little world now, and the people who like his stuff will buy his stuff, and I can safely ignore it. I don't think anybody wants to really. I can't imagine. Most. It's a bummer that Dark Horse is deciding to work with him, but
That it confuses me as well. Like, why Dark Horses doing that?
well, they've had. Was it Richardson was kind of a tool when it comes to a lot of that shit too. So it's like, why are you, um, like you're trying to recover, reputationally from this shit, and now you're gonna get in bed with Millar. All right.
I Yeah.
Yeah.
I've kind of come to the conclusion in a lot of ways that there's just not a lot of um, the fandoms that I do enjoy can't be trusted.
Well, I mean, my whole thing too. I mean, I just try not to involve myself with a lot of the fandoms. That's the only way I've been able to hang on to any kind of, like when I get, even tangentially involved in some of like the toy community stuff. It's like, oh, this is terrible. Go away. I don't want to hear any of your shit or,
And that's so bad. Like, it's not hard to just be a person, about things.
eh. And yes, Mitch, I agree. Comics need to be queer.
Just be better representation. Like, I mean, come on. Let's just just be
Well,
real.
I was reading a thing, and I don't disagree with it. Where if you're a mediocre white guy, you can get built up by Marvel or DC, and um, you'll be, you can go from not anything spectacular to writing like 8 books and events and stuff within a few years. But if you're a writer of color or a woman, you basically need to already be famous.
Well. Unless you lie about your ethnicity,
Yeah,
and then you
but
can be editor in chief.
like, but the whole like, we're not going to give you a big push or a lot of attention unless you already have fame. So it's like, yeah, that's why, it's been fine. It's been good, but that's why Iman Vellani is writing Ms. Marvel, is because she's already famous, or, Ta-Nehisi Coates, things like that. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. The books are good, but there are dozens, hundreds of, working writers, um, who would love to have these opportunities, but because they're not already famous for something else they did, they're not interested in giving him a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's depressing.
Mm.
Yeah, let's be real honest. Why can't you move that? That makes no sense. Um,
And yes, Mitch, I agree with you. The other thing that I've found is, and I don't like having to do it, but it's just I'm very picky about, if I'm joining a group or something, as far as talking about a specific, you know, property or something. And even then, like there's a Marvel Facebook group I'm in, and one of the most active posters is just everything is dumb, and why are they doing this? And it's like, well, but you haven't read it. Like it doesn't. It's literally not out yet. Like how are
also,
you?
like, don't like if you hate something, that's cool, but just shut the fuck up. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, if you don't like something, that's great. I'm happy for you, but
yeah. I don't expect
some of us
anybody to
want
like everything.
to, some of us want to enjoy some shit. Like, don't yuck other people's yum just because you're a fucking you are someone who can't handle certain things. That's
Well,
what I
I mean,
don't understand.
there's plenty of stories that come out that I don't enjoy. And if somebody asks me what my opinion is, I'll tell them like I didn't enjoy this and here's why. But if I haven't read it, I'm not going to claim any sort of knowledge
Yeah.
of it. I'm just going to say, yeah, I didn't read that. Here's what I heard about it, but I don't know. Because there's plenty of things that I read um, that I didn't think I was going to like and really enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a really, really cool, Mitch, is when you start to find some of those other places where there's more than just guys in tights punching each other.
there's so much good stuff out there, and I'm bad about finding it too. I mean, I usually come to it way too late, but yeah, um, there's a lot of great stuff
I
out
do agree with that, Spike. There's the sycophant side, and there's just the pure hater side, and the silent majority is in the middle, just like most of life.
there. Yeah,
The vast majority of people are like, I like this, don't care for that, but don't feel the need to use the internet as a place to tell you all about how much they hate it. That's fair, Mitch. And I think that, when you're a steward of a group like that, which is you are, whether you want to be or not,
yeah.
and that's a pretty constructive and positive place. Yeah, listen, people are like AEW is this fucking bastion of creative freedom and all that.
It's
It's
all. It's. I mean,
and WWE is WWE is like, we make money. That's what we do.
the tricky thing with wrestling, at least as it is currently, is it is still so much. At least the biggest companies, they are still so much the products of their owners. I think WWE is obviously moving away from that now that Vince is out, but it's still the house that Vince built.
Yeah,
And
and it always will be.
AEW is very tied to Tony. So it is a little bit harder to disengage and say, well, I'm just going to enjoy the wrestling or whatever. I'm not saying it's impossible or that you shouldn't do it. And good wrestling is good wrestling, but um, it is very still like, yeah, this is Tony's thing. This is Vince's thing. Um,
And I think, unfortunately,
and
we would be
Tony
much better
seems
off if they were doing things differently.
yeah,
But it's not my fucking money.
right. Well, and Tony's, not doing himself any favors of late. That's for sure. You don't give Flair money.
Gross. I wasn't even going to touch that.
Mm. Yeah, don't. He's probably sticky.
Yeah, I mean, that's all Super Spike. It's all AEW is a super indie, which
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with. It's just a less fun PWG.
Mm.
I mean, and that's my opinion about it. It's got some stuff that's great, just like WWE has some stuff that's great, just like New Japan has some stuff that's great. just as Noah and All Japan, CMLL, all companies have some stuff that's great. Period. They have too much really wonderful talent not to have some things that are great, but they all have shit that is terrible.
Yeah.
And all of them have stuff that's in the middle, and you just have to decide what you are willing to tolerate. And I always say, just don't yuck someone else's yum. If you love something, hype it up without hyperbole. Don't go on to a stream and say that oh god, what is his name, Otis is a Hall of Fame worthy talent, because I will call you out on that shit. That's hyperbole. You can like that dude. I like that dude. I think he's done some really fun stuff. But if you're like, oh, he's definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame someday, then your Hall of Fame doesn't mean anything.
Well, it feels like the WWE Hall of Fame is just inertia anyway.
Well put, Mitch. WWE Hall of Fame worthy? Yeah, because they put fucking anybody in.
Right.
Also, R-Truth has held belts. I mean, you can even point to the fact R-Truth at one point, Ron Killings was the NWA World Champion. Yeah. And justifiably deservably so. His run in TNA, before it became TNA, is really good. Like, it's what got him back in WWE. Did some great stuff. I have not seen Otis do that.
Well, and who knows where his career will go?
I think Otis has like a high ceiling, because I'm sorry, if you're a WWE wrestler and they put you on the main roster, you have a high ceiling.
Yeah.
Like, they invest money and you are a product. And if you don't have a high ceiling, guess what? They just fucking cut you. That's what they do. Yeah. They cut people that then they have to bring back because they go out, and Drew McIntyre is a perfect example.
Yeah.
If you go watch Drew McIntyre stuff on the indies, especially stuff in Evolve, it's amazing. It's so good because it's him being him with no constraints. I think that all WWE was smart. They would bring people in to the fold as far as into their performance center or whatever, and then they would tell them, like, we're going to give you a work for hire contract with the option to pick you up as a permanent. And then we're going to tell you, if you want to keep this contract, you have to go out and work so many indie dates. Because it's basically what would give them the best talent.
Well, so it's the New Japan excursion.
Yeah.
System.
I thought they were going to do that when they were buying up all these smaller promotions, but they were just buying them up for their
libraries.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see now that Vince is out of creative, how things develop. But I mean, it is still a product in the end. It's corporate, so.
Well, now it's a corporation that is within a corporation.
Yes. Well, and Dana White's a piece of shit. But
yeah, I'm sorry. UFC is the fucking worst, man. You talk about just an absolute shit hole of a fucking wow. And he's a great example of how shitty they are. It's like, hey, hey Dana, do you want to just go out and hit your wife in public some more? You fucking hunk of garbage.
Yeah.
I can't think of a place that has given us worse humans. Just ugh. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, Mitch. I think the WWE Hall of Fame is just basically like, this is your reward for selling out everything.
Yeah, and you haven't tried to cross us since you left.
That's why I don't have a problem with Chicago Phillip going back into the wonderful arms of them, because it's just money.
Yeah.
And I think his was even less about money and more about a big fuck you to AEW, which is why I think he'll make money and he'll be good there. He'll be a good boy there.
We'll
Because
see. I don't know. I don't know if he can control himself at this point.
I think he can, because I think the reality is he needs them as much as they need him. They need somebody to sell tickets, and he can sell fucking tickets. He needs them to re-legitimize himself. But the reality is, a lot of those guys didn't want him there.
Yeah.
And when they let Adam Page go on there and go off agreed upon script on shit he had no business talking about, that's where, at that point, it's you just given Chicago Phillip the green light to fucking do that all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Trader, the jailer, and the warden. And I know I can be a Chicago Phillip apologist super bad. I will not deny that. Exactly. And I think some people are happy telling you what an ass. I think we've talked about this before. There are people in the world who will tell you what an asshole they are from Jump Street. They'll be like, I'm a fucking asshole. Like, I will do that to a degree. I'll be like, hey, here's the things I am not a good person about all the time. No, Shaggy, don't apologize. This is a good conversation.
Yeah.
They'll tell you that. I mean, I don't know if you've run into all of them, Matt, but I've run into some of them. I've had some of them in my home. I've had some of them, I've called friend. I've had some of them I was relatively close to. They eventually, if someone's telling you they're an asshole, they eventually will show you that they're a fucking asshole.
Well, they're giving themselves the out.
Yep.
They've at that it's your fault.
Yep. They're the scorpion on the toad.
Yeah, they're like, no, I told you I was going to be I told you I was an asshole, and now I'm being an asshole. So that's your fault, buddy.
Yep. You should have listened to me when I warned you.
Yeah, and
that I'm a bad
shitty.
person. It is. It's like, because most of the time I think a lot of us, we want to look at the best side of people.
Well, yeah, and I also just don't like the idea that I'm gonna just get out ahead of this and give myself that out rather than trying to be not an asshole or at least feeling bad about it when I am. If I fail, it's just like, nope, I'm an asshole, and now I can be that, and I'm absolved.
Yeah, yeah. I can just say, well, I warned you.
Yeah. Like, you could just try not to be an asshole. You might fail, but you can still try. Rather than just saying, I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah. No, I think that's just the reality of it. And I don't know. Anyway, so I think that these are things where we have to be cognizant of it. That's a good one, Mitch. I agree with that. I try to be better. Doesn't mean I'm going to be better. Especially, I can be very easy into backsliding and to be a dickhead. Especially when I get frustrated. If I feel like, oh, you're going to you're putting me in a corner who I don't like, I can just be like, okay, well, fucking eat it, because here comes the worst of me. But I try not to, because I don't want to be that person.
Right. Well, you're not just saying, "Oh, I'm not gonna even bother to hold myself accountable here."
Yeah. That's something that's something I don't like. Like, that's something I don't know. That's something I find there's something disingenuous about that. I mean, and you're also allowed your bad fucking days, man.
Oh, sure.
There's going to be times where you're just going to, that's not right. We're allowed to have bad fucking times. Sorry, I'm trying to do this and
Oh, no, yeah.
I'm failing at it right now. Plus, I've got an amazing song blasting in my headphones.
Oh, what song you got?
I've got Red Alert Boss Metal Zone by Clutch playing, which is a song about Blade Runner.
Oh, all right.
That whole album is kind of about Blade Runner. There's a line in that song, "Can you pass the void comp test under emotional stress?" Which I like Blade Runner quite a bit. So here's the I can't find my notes, my actual notes. So kind of getting back to all this. One thing our Jedi NPC in our group, that's kind of what I wrote about, is they were a Padawan for Pong Krell. And if you don't know who Pong Krell was, and he's the guy during the Clone Wars who was putting his own clones in line to be killed. And then his clones turned on him and arrested him. Assholeitis. Get a bad case of assholeitis. And they, prior to that incident, the Padawan struck out at Krell because Krell is a piece of shit. And then rather than that, they turned him over to the council, and they thought that he had some worth, so they sent him to the temple, to the Dawn Temple. It's called the Dawn Temple, isn't it? Where he was there for like 6 years, and he basically met another master there who basically took him on. So, God, I can't remember that character's name, the NPC's name right now either. I'm having a real bad memory day, guys. Have a bad memory day, huh? Noel Yanich. No. So let's put that in. Noel Yanich, who your character is aware of.
Yes.
So what would be a good name for this mysterious master that took him in?
And you want it to be a new character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ooh, I like Night Wardens a lot, Mitch, but it immediately, like, someone calls you a Night Warden, I immediately go, "You're a fucking bad guy."
Yeah.
I like Warden a lot.
It draws you into the Night Sisters things.
Yeah.
Too.
Bye, Shaggy.
Thanks
Shaggy,
for
make sure you post
on.
your thing in the chat, your for your polar plunge, please. Every time you're on, put it in chat every single time.
Yeah. I'm just gonna say Tice.
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 TY or TI?
It could be either. Follow your heart.
What give me a little bit more on Tice. Who is Tice?
Oh, I was just pulling Trapper's real name.
Ooh, Tice Xerus.
Yeah.
So so the way I was kind of thinking about it too is Tice Xerus would be like almost like a mother figure to this character because their father figure sucked. So what race type of thing? Old, young? Give me some more.
Let's see here.
Bye, Shaggy.
Hi, Shaggy.
What's a good? Well, I do want to have the reason that this Tice Xerus lives there is because they're kind of a gray Jedi. That they keep going back here to try to pull themselves back into the light. See, one thing I really like about Qui-Gon is, and I watch way too much shit on Star Wars. That's my problem. Is Qui-Gon is a gray Jedi. He is very much, like Dooku. I think Dooku, while Dooku's eventual just complete fall into the dark side, some people will justify for certain things. Qui-Gon doesn't follow the Jedi Order mandates completely. He kind of does his own thing. If he believes in something passionately enough, he's like double middle fingers, I'm doing this. And I think Obi-Wan's got a little bit of that too. Not as much. And Dooku is like on the far end of that, where Dooku's like, yep, fuck you guys, I'm out. I don't want to be Mace Windu. I don't want to just kiss ass and follow orders. I'm not a social climber. What's a good weird Star Wars race we don't use enough?
Well, I'm gonna drop this in the private chat here. I'd never heard of this one.
Ooh, the Urgesh are kind of neat. All right. I'm down for the Urgesh.
Yeah, I just feel like thinking like a plant creature would be kind of neat. But
kind of similar to the weird guy that you guys met, who you traveled with in your Jedi game, who was like a starfish boy.
Yeah.
And this is the thing I love about the old West End Games stuff, is you got all this wild ass shit. Like that is a wild ass, very much not a bipedal humanoid thing.
Yeah, they're just it's a big mound of plant matter. The stuff about their weapons and starships too is kind of neat. You know, living starships, and they can throw plant buds that would deliver electrical shocks. So that's kind of neat.
I like the idea of this person, like Urgesh, them being there very frequently because of their like dalliances into, you know, that the High Council is constantly like, Urgesh. So upon Obi-Wan's Jedi beacon message, the three have the remaining, what do we want to call them? I don't want to call them stasis Jedi. What is a good name for someone that's not a prisoner but is not an inmate, and like what would you call that?
But they're not allowed to leave, are they?
No. I mean, I guess they're kind of patients.
Yeah.
Ooh. Veletdurian? I've never heard of that word before, and I'm kind of all about it. Voletudurians? No, that's like someone who's a hypochondriac. I dig the word though. Resident sounds too permanent. Also, on the medical end, it sounds more like an actual, like, oh, this person's is doing their residency. I'm trying to think of something what the Jedi would use, where it's like, oh, this is kind of a flowery language for something we technically don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
I also like the idea, and you guys can nix it if you want, that a lot of the Jedi that weren't in stasis died during Order 66 because of the backlash. They're like, it was too much. They were there for a reason. And the drastic loss of life just killed them. They were communing with the Force and it just wiped them out.
Okay.
So one thing I want the players to find is this, like they're being taken by one of the holocrons to see what they think are going to be like these just rooms full of Jedis and stasis pods, and instead it's just a tomb. And then they're like, well, these are all the people that are still here. Well, they're all dead. Yep, they all died because they were communing with the Force when all the Jedi were killed.
Let's see here.
Ooh, Eclipse Jedi is great. Ooh, Mitch. That's great. That's absolutely great. I love that.
Yeah, that is good.
It also makes me immediately think of like Eclipso, which is perfect. Because I actually even did like copy down what Obi-Wan's message was on the beacon.
Yeah, even if you just call them the Eclipsed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think that's like how they'll refer to them, as the Eclipsed. I also, one thing I want is for our dude, our I can't remember the guy's name. I need to just like spend time putting all this down on my phone today after we're done. Tremaine, like I also want to get across, like these people don't know who Darth Vader is. The one thing Tremaine will try to get across is like, hey, like the hero of the Empire was Anakin Skywalker. He tried to stop the Jedi
Yeah.
from assassinating Chancellor Palpatine, and he died in the process. Oh, I love the setting of this song.
Actually, I'm going to be right back.
Okay. Let's see here. would have been high-ranking Imperials in Palpatine's inner circle. So I always like the idea of Sly Moore and the horn guy? Mons Admin, Mazameda, yeah. That they were like more into shit than they were. Because I know, doesn't Sly Moore try to kill Vader?
I think so. Yeah.
I think we're going to use Sly Moore as part of this Armor the Inquisitorius. This portion of the Inquisitorius is run under Uter Sly Moore. It is by and large used as a I don't know how to explain it. Less aggressive means of dealing with Jedi and Force sensitives in the hopes of bringing them in to the fold or convicting them and handing them over to inquisitors. Is that no? I don't. Inquisitorius is a word, guy.
I mean,
did I just misspell it? Is all?
It might not be a real.
No, it's a real word.
No,
I just misspelled it. So I know we were working on figuring out a different name for because Magistrates wasn't working for y'all. Did we ever come up with something? I think Mitch, you had something, but it had like was a little too on the nose. Night Wardens.
yeah.
Do we have something with Warden in it? Because I do like that a lot, actually. What about Twilight Wardens?
Or Dusk.
Oh, Dusk Wardens. Dusk Wardens sounds like some serious D&D shit.
That's true.
I don't hate it though. Let's go with Dusk Wardens to start off with. Dusk Wardens are
Umbra Wardens.
I like Dusk Wardens more than Umbra Wardens.
Yeah.
I hate to say this, but it's kind of a department. So, like, how I see this playing out too at the end is that once they kind of figure out there's nothing there, there's no library, there's no Jedi, nothing. Jarek reaches out to Tremaine, who he knew before he left, who was a Jedi Master he knew because he's tried everything else and, there's nothing there. And Tremaine answers. So Tremaine shows up, with his Star Destroyer and everything else, and he comes down to planet side and he's like, oh, my friend, you're alive. Holy crap. And, he sees these other Jedi. He sees that, he knows the matron's a criminal, known criminal. So it's like, oh, you're running around with some bad people.
Some bad people. Yeah.
But he's also like, hey, I'm not trying to start a fight here. Like, this is not what I do. Like, I'm not here to kill any of you. There's no point to it. Like, that's not my, if I wanted to do that, I would have brought down a legion of troopers.
Yeah.
And that's not what, and he has purge troopers, rather than regular stormtroopers. And he's like, that's not what I do. Like, that's not my purview. Like, that's the Imperial Navy's job.
Yeah.
I don't throw my soldiers into a meat grinder. Like, I just don't. And, so Jarek eventually is just easily swayed. This is just a fact. But he also asks the other Jedis in the group, like, what's your names? And then he looks them up and like, you're all dead. So there's no point in me doing anything.
Right.
Let me give you a piece of advice. If you don't have an interest in joining me, you should hide. You should run. Run as far away as you can. Because I'm just one part of the Inquisitorius. The other part, if they find you're alive and they come for you, they're going to kill you. They're going to end you.
Yeah.
They're not interested in offering you an opportunity. And I also wanted to give kind of a speech about how, hey, we're in a new world. There's no order. There is no more forbidden knowledge.
Right.
There's no more Jedi Council. There's no more masters and apprentices. I work for the fucking Emperor of the Galaxy. And you know what his goal is? No more war. No more of us being thrown into the fray, which is not what we were for. No more senseless death. No more of that. I can show you all the knowledge you want. You know why? Because there's no one telling us we shouldn't know it. There's no more small group of 8 people in a room telling the rest of us what we can and can't do. No more masters. No more servants. So, I mean, that pitch is actually pretty good, I feel like.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And there's enough truth in it to make it convincing.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is as soon as Jarek, because I don't think the players are going to go for this at all. But once Jarek gets on the shuttle with them, he'll be like, he'll say, okay. And then an ion cannon burst comes down and hits the ship. And then he just says, okay, you can start. Because he tells them, he's like, I'm not going to kill you. Because there's no point to it. Why would I? But he does. He has used an orbital bombardment on the temple. Because he's like, oh, this place is useless and I don't want anyone else finding it. So it'll be like the rush at the end is like, can we get the shit back up and running so we don't die in an orbital bombardment? And also, do we want to rush back in these buildings that are being blown up to grab anything? because I also want to have the non-Jedi characters, as the Jedi are allowed like into these other areas and they see what's happened. I also want to have the other characters like have these moments with, so what is it, the they would be going with the curator or the jailer. The warden would be the person that the rest of them are with. And the warden, I'm going to have like kind of try to split them off into groups, because they're just they're all these characters, all these three characters are just holocrons. So they're just like, energy versions of dead Jedi. Kind of not. So one thing I want to have is, because Colin's character is, this guy who's wearing Mandalorian armor, pieces of it, who's not fucking Mandalorian. He's not even the guy he's saying he is. He's a guy who's like the Dread Pirate Roberts. He's like, I'm capitalizing on this dead guy's rep.
Yeah.
And I want to have like the warden take, and it's because it's something I kind of want to explore, is like, do you really want to do this? Because you've already established, to me as the person running the game, you're a guy who's realizing like, I'm fucking way in over my head to go into this room, and basically, I want to have the warden talk about like masks, and it's just like this room, it's like a trophy room, and there's a lot of stuff in here, like, the Mandalorians fought the Jedi, so there's a bunch of Mandalorian artifacts in here. There's a bunch of stuff about like, the Revanchists, I can't remember how you say it, the Jedi who split off with Revan to fight the Mandalorians. And about how like choosing your own path, because Revan chose his own path and he did the right thing, and in turn fell to the dark side, but then also pulled himself out of that and became a Jedi again, and then sacrificed himself to basically stop, I can't think of what the guy's name is, Vitiant, to kill Vitiant. He did so much that he literally split himself into a light and dark side of himself in order to do this. So Revan's fucking fascinating to me. He's this guy who
realized that it was,
I mean, so there's this war going on between the Republic and the Mandalorians, and the Jedi Council's like, we're not getting involved. And Revan's like, bullshit. People are dying left and right. Like, we need to do something. And they're like, no, because if we get involved, then we're basically siding with the Republic. We're acting as a military arm. And he says, fine. And he goes to all these other Jedi and he's like, you can stay here and follow the council, or you can follow me, because I'm going to fucking war with the Mandalorians. And the ones who split off are the Revanchists, or however you want to say it. So in the end of it, Revan kills Mandalore. And he takes Mandalore's mask, because for there to be a Mandalore has to wear Mandalore's mask. And he basically takes Mandalore's mask and he's like, if you want the mask, you got to fucking kill me. And there's no way you can do it, because I just killed the best of you. So surrender and go the fuck back to your home. And that's how he wins. And then he and Malik and some of their followers, they just go off to deal with this other thing, which I don't remember. And when they come back, they're Sith. And Malik's missing the lower half of his face because he takes a shot at Revan, and Revan cuts his fucking mouth off. But Revan eventually goes back to the light. And the Jedi Council fucking wipe his memory, because the Jedi Council were good guys.
Yeah.
And he starts to remember like who he is, and he finds a way to separate himself into dark and light. And he basically brings himself back together to kill Vitiant, who is like the giant threat of that period. I love that shit. Like, to me, Revan is the character that if Disney Lucas was smart, they would just start building around that, because those KOTOR games are amazing. And that character is fantastic. So I like that idea of like them going in this room and the warden trying to kind of explain how, masks have meaning, and you're wearing someone else's mask, and giving Colin's character opportunity to take a different approach.
Right.
Because also this warden is the one who was there to teach Jedi how to construct lightsabers, teach them how to build. And then I also want to have the warden like deal with the fact that like, trying to figure out why the matron is here, why Draz's character is there. Why are you siding with these people?
Yeah.
You don't know them. And you certainly don't owe them anything.
Right.
Why, try to get to the heart of why the matron, who is more or less a bounty hunter smuggler,
Yeah.
why are you doing this? Like, what's the point for you? What's the end game for you? There is no rebellion at this point. Like, you are in the eyes of the government in charge, a fucking terrorist.
Yeah.
So, like, you're not making money, which was kind of your thing. You're no longer in prison. The person who brought you into all this, Alara Marin, is supposedly dead. So why?
Yeah. Let's keep it.
Because I want, as a role-playing thing, to try to get Shannon to give me something so I can give me a string that I can pull later. And the same thing with Richard, with his character, because they're ostensibly in the game are married. But she's been married a bunch of times. She may still be married to a bunch of people. Right. I've never really got that established. But why? And the game you played in with that group, we met one of her kids.
Yeah.
So like, what's the deal there? Like, what's the end game? What's the point of that? And not in a bad way. Just like I need a string.
Examine that. Yeah.
Yeah, I need a string to pull at some point. Because I mean, it's easy. And again, this is hopefully no one's watching this that plays these games, or they can and just be like Matt. Be like Matt. Be a good fucking player. I know what like the Jedi are doing. Like I get like James especially. James is playing a fucking Jedi, and James has a very solid idea of what a Jedi is. Like James has an impression in his mind of what a good Jedi is and what a good Jedi does. And I can count on James, because I know him, to play a Jedi like a cleric or a paladin. I can count on Nate to skirt as many lines as possible. That Nate will play a good character up to the point. And I also know with Nate, just because I've played so much D&D with Nate, if you offer Nate a deal, a devil's bargain type of situation, the temptation to take that will be so fucking strong. So I know at some point I can pull on that.
Yeah.
Exactly, Mitch. I saw one the other day that was WWJD, and it instead of what would Jesus do, it was winner, winner, Jesus dinner. I think it was a McElroy thing, and I died laughing. I thought it was the best fucking thing. I wish I had a bumper sticker of it. So I kind of want to be able to explore that. And that's one thing I want to be able to do with a game like this. It should hopefully have a bunch of floating players. Because even if you were going to play, Matt, my thought was your character gets there basically late and in a starship and is there when the fucking Star Destroyer gets there. Mm-hmm. Like you see it get there and you're like, oh fuck. And in your character, whoever you play with, it's the Jedi, or whether it's
Morian now.
Yeah, or your other character. Fuck, I can't remember that character's name even. They were just like a mercenary.
Yeah.
So like whoever gets there as kind of backup has to decide like, oh fuck. I mean, I would eat that. I mean, maybe not breaded Jesus. It'd be real tough. Not a lot of fat. Yeah, not a lot of fat on the bones. You have to soak that Jesus meat in buttermilk. I think that like has some interesting things, and that's what I want to do a lot of. I want to take this game and I want to be able to balance the wild, like very Star Wars-esque, that kind of visceral feeling of, look, we're flying through asteroids and shooting stuff and
Yeah.
everyone's against us feeling that, I think that John Williams music in the background where
Sure.
everybody's like, woo, or the gunfights in a hallway. Lots of hallway gunfights in Star Wars. With these moments of like, why? Because I think some more of the modern Star Wars ask that question a little bit more.
Yes.
I think Solo does it in a funny fashion. Like, what the fuck are you doing?
Right.
Andor asks it in a very political fashion.
Yes.
Obi-Wan Kenobi asks it in a duty fashion. Like, when there's nothing left but your duty, like, are you willing to do this? And of course, because he's ostensibly, I feel like Obi-Wan is ostensibly a D&D hero. He's very much a lawful good character, or maybe
Yeah.
neutral. He's the perfect balance of lawful and neutral good. He's definitely not chaotic good because he doesn't do shit for himself.
No.
I mean, his whole existence in the end is watch out for this one person.
Yeah.
You're on guard duty for this one person. That's why I love that scene with he and Maul in Rebels so much. They Filoni as well as Sam Witwer do such a good job of breaking that scene down. Of if you ever get a chance, watch the video of, especially of Sam Witwer talking about it. Of Kenobi, the last sword fight they have is like 3 strokes because it's a samurai fucking fight. It's a samurai
Yep.
duel.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that Kenobi goes through 3 stances before they even clash blades. He comes at him like old Kenobi. He switches to new Kenobi, and then he switches to Qui-Gon, which tricks Maul into thinking he can do the same shit he did to kill Qui-Gon. And when he gets into that to do it, Kenobi kills him. And that's the moment Maul realizes, oh fuck, you're not just some broke down person in the desert hiding.
Yeah.
You're here for a reason, and it must be the most important fucking reason in the universe because you're a Jedi Master at the very, very pinnacle of your game who could potentially kill Palpatine. So you're doing something that must be the most important fucking thing ever. And that's why he tells him as he's dying, he's like, avenge us. Because it's like, you're here to do this thing. Like, you're here to fix this. I still believe Kenobi could have given Vader far more trouble than he does in that again, hallway fight in New Hope, but he realizes that's not the point.
Yeah.
And it's why I feel like Kenobi falls in that category of like duty before all. Is like, my job isn't to kill you. My job, I still think Kenobi's thought is, I'm here to save you still. I still feel like this is my fault in some way. Even though I think it's in Kenobi, basically, Vader tells him, like, you killed me, Anakin's dead. You did this. Like, this is your fucking fault. Or maybe even says this is not your fault. I can't remember exactly how that goes when Kenobi beats the shit out of him in that fight on that moon, which is great Star Wars. Not a fight in a hallway. It's a fight in just an open area. And I think that, that Kenobi realizes my job is to get Luke Skywalker off this station. And if I drag this out, if I turn this into a thing, I won't be able to stop Luke from coming to save me.
Yeah.
So I need to make this happen. And I also know, if you strike me down, I'll become more powerful than you could possibly fucking imagine. That's not a lie.
No.
As they've gone back and shown, like, Qui-Gon's ghost was talking to Obi-Wan the whole fucking time. So Obi-Wan's like, well, I know it's coming. So, duty before death. Just take your best shot, Anakin. So I think Obi-Wan, to me, like, when I'm thinking about, like, especially James, that's his strive point. It's like he's trying to be, just because on James' mind, James fucking loves Obi-Wan Kenobi. You want to do something nice for James Wheeler? Send him something Obi-Wan Kenobi related. That is his favorite jam. I think that you can really do something with that kind of idea of duty. And I know that's not Nate's thing. For any of you who watch Down Outlands, you'll know that all I got to do is to Nate is go, well, what if we made a deal?
Yeah.
And if you were ever around for our old D&D group, Nate made deals with everybody. Oh, you're an infernal outsider? How about we make a deal? Oh,
Yeah.
you're some sort of strange thing from the far realm? Well, we make a deal. I mean, we've met, what is it? One of many, which is a clone of one of Nate's characters who basically figured out a way to clone himself, not through magic, but through fucking stuff he took from a, what are they called? Is it a Yithian? Oh, I can't write that Lovecraft. I think it's a great race of Yith.
Okay.
They look like conical. Yeah, they're like conical plant things with like a weird long head thing. They're from the Shadow Out of Time as well. They basically take you out of your time and put your brain in a jar and then bring you to other places in time. He met some of them and basically was like doing stuff for them because they told him like, hey, we've been following your character around through different incarnations because you keep showing up. And in fact, when he meets him the first time, they're dissecting another version of him. And he's like, oh, what are you doing over there? And they show him, and he's like, that's me on that table, isn't it? And I'm like, it is. He's like, oh, so, and they're like, yeah, you're going to see everything. It's a reason like this person that we're dissecting has all got all these weird things. Like he has no eyes and instead is wearing this like magical sci-fi visor thing. It's because you saw too much and tore your own eyes out. He's like, okay, perfect. Great.
Yeah. Right on.
Right on, brother. So, that character is not fucked up because me fucked it up. It's fucked up because you fucked it up, Nate. And I was just like, sweet, let's run with this wild shit.
We're leaning in.
Yeah. So that's why I think I can possibly tempt Nate at some point. Now, I had hoped when you were playing with the Matrons group that I could get your mercenary to go with Barris Offie. That really was like my hope, is that when Barris Offie's like, I need someone to help me and to help me find these, I've got this log now, these jump points of force sensitive kids. I'm going to go find them because if I don't, someone else will. Possibly the Inquisitorius. I cannot let that happen. Right. I also can't let some Jedi find them because I don't fucking believe in what the Jedi were doing either.
They'll just fuck them up too.
So I need help. And your character was like, I don't know. You're not a good person. You have shown me you're also not a good person. So maybe no. And if I remember correctly, she does give that character a way to contact her.
Yes. I believe so.
So I still have that in my back pocket as a DM. Again, I have a string. And I also, if I remember correctly, that particular character, Matt, did not disclose that to anyone else.
I don't believe so. I'd have to go back and see, but I don't believe so.
I don't believe so either.
Been a minute. But...
Go back to the tapes.
Yes.
But I feel like, what if Barris Offie comes to like Nate's character? Barris Offie is not a fucking, is more or less a gray Jedi, at worst a dark Jedi, but not a Sith.
No.
And comes to him and is like, we can do something about this. We can save these people, and not use them as weapons of war, not train children, soldiers.
Yeah.
What does he? Whereas I got a feeling James's character was like, nope.
Yeah.
We need to, we need to rebuild the order. Not so dogmatically as that, but it's like, we can fix this. Because that's kind of where I get the feeling like his character would take that. If he doesn't, that's even better because it means I'm not reading him well. And that means like anything's on the table at that point. But that idea, I can see him more being like, we can do something about this. Whereas with, my feeling with Noel Yanich is Noel doesn't want to be a Jedi anymore. In fact, that's kind of the point I'm getting to with the characters he's running around with in from the Scum and Villainy group, is like him not utilizing his lightsaber anymore. It's more like Honk saved him, so he's like, I've got your back. Like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
go do stuff with you until I find a purpose. I don't have one. So, and I don't want to do this anymore because I also chose kind of
Yeah.
pacifist duty over war, and I was sentenced to death, more or less. And not
Yeah.
just death, I was sentenced to basically float in nothingness forever.
Right.
So,
How'd that pay off?
Right. Yeah. But now instead I'm running around with these assholes and they're all right. I like that a lot. I like that idea. I think it gives a lot of wiggle room and area to play with. Did we think of anything Dusk Wardens?
I think Dusk Warden's solid.
I feel like Dusk Wardens works. What about adjudicators? Do you guys all feel like that's workable?
I think it works. Yeah.
And I think I'm going to put that above that. So anyway, that's kind of where I see this kind of playing itself out in the next episode, depending on how long they want to wander around in the Dawn Temple. Because I could see that being a whole episode, and then the next episode.
Oh yeah, totally could.
Although there wasn't a whole lot of fighting last time, so I could also see them being like, I gotta kill stuff. Because sometimes, although this is a group where there's not really anybody in it who's like needs combat,
right? Which is nice.
Like if Cassandra was in this, there would have to be a fight, or she would get bored at some point. She will do a couple episodes of role play, but there needs to be a conflict at some point. Dice need to be rolled where shit has.
There needs to be
has a moment of conflict or a puzzle, and I don't really do puzzles well, as we've established.
It's hard to do in that space anyway. Just to
there's people who do them. Like,
I'm sure
Zach can run a puzzle game that is phenomenal. I've rarely run into or played with anyone where it's like, holy shit, this is great. Twilight Guides. I am just going to write that down. So I've got a bunch of stuff here too. I just kind of touch upon. I want to use I got this thing. These are kind of operations.
Oh yeah.
There is what is it? So Imperial Inquisition and Copnor are doing these projects. So the first one is a colony, which is basically my take on The Prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
They're just sticking people there. I got time to puzzle. And try to figure out what they know. Also a place where potentially players could end up. Operation Canto Blight or Bite is where they take people that they've basically broken and repurposed and send out. The Crib is something I want to tie back eventually, maybe to Barris Ophi, where they basically they would go from the colony to the Crib to Operation Canto Blight. It's a 3-step process.
Okay.
Operation Black Box and Windows. But I also love this idea, Project Paragon. So in the Sith Civil War, the Republic troops were using this thing called they were using this thing called the Power Guard Enhancement System. That's why when you watch some of those trailers of those games, you can see a guy in what basically is older version of clone armor, fist fighting a Sith Lord and like using a thermal detonator from like a foot away and not dying. They were basically super soldiers.
Okay.
And I love the idea of the Empire utilizing that technology, that old technology that they're not sure how it works completely anymore, but using it as one of the fundamental portions of what will eventually become the Dark Trooper program.
Yeah.
So they're using that along with Kaminoan cloning to basically try to build Captain America's. I made up a name, which is two names that were involved. Like it's Gareth. What the hell's Gareth's name? Who did Rogue One?
Oh, Gareth Edwards.
Gareth Edwards, and I can't remember Mendelssohn's first name. They were to the guys who worked on Rogue One.
Yeah.
So I just switched their names. So they're working on this project underneath, or in association with Royce Hemlock, who was the guy at Mount Tantus during Bad Batch. So I like that idea of like taking this stuff and kind of tying it in. And yes, Mitch, you're dead right. That's one of the things of it. I don't love 40K, but I love Space Marines. Like I love the idea of like, hey, here's these vat grown troopers who don't fucking know anything else but war. And they, by default are completely loyal. Because I kind of feel like the clones have a little bit of that vibe anyway, until it hits a point so far into the war where they're kind of like, what are we doing? Like, what even is this? We're not even considered people. We're literally disposable soldiers.
Yeah, there was a bit with that in the IDW Transformers run, where because it was like, oh, we're just building these, we're birthing these Transformers that are bombs.
Yeah.
Or in some cases it was like, oh, here's a landmine that's also a Cybertronian, and so it's sentient. The super soldier thing is interesting to me too, as somebody who's always been, kind of interested in Valance from the Star Wars stuff.
Yeah. Well, and there is I can't remember what their name is. There is a group in Star Wars that are all clones of the same guy who were, I think, around in the Imperial era, who he was, God, what kind of race was he? He was one of the three races that Jabba always has around, that the Hutts basically enslaved. But they took this guy, I think it's in the comics actually, and they cloned him and basically he's like a cult. And they released them to kill like Jedi.
Oh, wow.
Yes. That's something else I want to have a little bit in there, is that Yaslamari in there, because that's something I loved from the Thrawn Thrawn books, is like, well, you have a hard time killing me because guess what, motherfucker? Force don't work on me because this little thing on my neck. I really like that. Also, one of the things I had down, and I can't remember why, is there was this Malkanis guy that was basically apparently tried to hold an insurrection against the Empire, and that one of the things on my list was the assassination of this guy. One of the things that in our Scum and Villainy game, part 7 of 5, that one of the things that you guys were going to get was the fact that Operation Duchess was about to take place on Mandalore. So it was a way to maybe even send you guys to Mandalore for that, the Night of Glass. I don't even need this stuff in here anymore. The pacification of Modi was for the Empire. We're not doing that, so I don't have that to keep that in there anymore. Actually, or this. But there's really interesting stuff, I feel like, at Star Wars, especially, that is like on the periphery.
Oh, absolutely.
That doesn't touch the greater. But that's one thing I love about like the idea of using like Jarek and Tressamaine and those characters is, while they're in Legends and they haven't made their way into canon, Kyle Katarn is doing Kyle Katarn shit in Legends that has nothing to do with the Skywalker stuff.
Yeah.
And the Dark Trooper program is in canon now.
Yes.
And he was fucking that shit up. I love the idea of Kyle Katarn being around. And didn't his name show up in Kenobi on the wall?
I can't remember.
A
I
couple of
know.
characters showed up who I was like, oh, those characters are now canon. That's really interesting. Hopefully
Yeah,
someone
I
can
know.
get further.
Rom Coda did, and a
Yeah,
couple.
Rom Coda is another character. I love the idea that Rom Coda is building a coalition at the edge of the Outer Rim, has solidified like all these solid soldiers because Rom Coda was a general before he was in the fucking Jedi Order. So he is a military man, and he's basically decided, I'm not just going to beat the Empire, I'm going to fucking kill Darth Vader. That's goal number one, is I'm going to kill the guy who has been killing us. I mean, ostensibly, if there's no Star Killer, Rom Coda potentially could kill Darth Vader. But of course, we'll see what happens with that, because I also don't want to steer too far from the fact that Rom Coda gets fucked. He gets, he doesn't die, but he gets fucked up. Star Killer blinds him basically. I kind of feel like in some ways the Kanan Jarrus thing takes a little bit from Rom Coda.
It very well may, yeah.
Which I don't think is a bad thing. I really like that character. So, and I didn't play those games. I just really like that character.
The character, yeah.
And I like the idea of these are things going on in other parts of the galaxy while, Han and Chewie and Luke are running around doing shit. Or actually prior to that even going on.
Prior to that, yeah. I mean, this would be the Lando novels and stuff.
And I love that, we know that Sidious went through what? He went through Maul and Tyrannus.
Yep.
And probably had at least one more secret apprentice in there before Vader. And that fucking Darth Tyrannus had secret apprentices. Because even though those fuckers said like rule of two.
Yeah.
Rule of two. They were constantly. That's what I also love, is the fact that it's mentioned elsewhere that Sidious was big on Darth Bane, like the teachings of Darth Bane, who was big on the teachings of Revan, because rule of two technically comes from Revan. Bane was the person that, basically turned that into the rule. And said there is not going to be any more of us just running around as large groups and killing each other. Rule of two, many. But that's the thing too, is all these fuckers all had secret apprentices. Star Killer is a secret apprentice. Because Vader's like, well, fucking, I gotta make sure I have a backup plan.
Yeah,
you're not trustworthy. I love that fact that what else is going on there. You have also, the Knights of Ren were around.
Yes,
and they were doing shit, and they are Darksiders, but they're like this weird thing going on. They're kind of like dark side pirates, basically.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah.
They have a little bit of that feeling that the Mandalorians had at one point, where it's just like, we go around, we wreck shit, we look for the best fight, and then whoever has the name, Ren is the leader. It's got kind of a weird, like egalitarianism to it. You want to come for the throne, and that there's other dark side cults out there. And there were other orders that weren't just the Jedi and the Sith that are out there. That's one thing I want to try to get across eventually about the Adjudicator, the other parts of the Inquisitores. Like that the Inquisitors are not Sith.
No.
They're just dark Jedi because they're looked down upon by Vader. Vader hates them. Actively fucking hates them. There's a reason he fights them and cuts limbs off to prove a fucking point, because he despises them. And I like the idea of this other part of Adjudicators and the Inquisitores being separate from the Inquisitors, so Vader doesn't get to mutilate these people, but also that they are not fucking Sith. They're dark Jedi. They're like, yeah, no rules anymore. I can study whatever I want. I can do all these things, and all I have to do is be loyal to the Emperor. And they don't know the Emperor's Sith. They just know that Sly Moore is in charge, who has the ear of Emperor Palpatine, and is basically like, hey, all this is open to you, but you need to make sure when I give you something to do, you do it. Because if you don't, I will literally just give you to the Inquisitors. You'll fail me for the last time, Captain Eater. Anyway, so for something we were going to do Mountain Monsters today, and I just got way off track.
We got off track. It's fine. Star Wars is more urgent, and I feel like with Mountain Monsters, we want to have
I always feel bad when I feel like if I don't have them there, have Colin here, or if you're not here, I kind of feel like, man, all that's going to happen is you're going to look at it and go, well, I wish I would have. Oh man,
yeah.
Oh man, all of a sudden I couldn't talk. That you won't have your say in everything,
right?
So, and since I desperately want. Wow.
Yeah.
Woo! Felt like I was just trying to talk through sandpaper. Okay. Matt, let's wrap up. I'm sure you got stuff to do before your movie.
Go grab a snack and then go see some movies.
Gotta see some Zilla. Matt, where can people find your beautiful self?
I'm here most Sundays. I'm over on the Dave Wonder channel most Tuesdays, and then we'll see. I'm on Blue Sky. I'm Hypno Hustler over there, and I don't know. We'll see about other stuff. I'm on Instagram. I don't post much on there, but oh, nice! You use that head.
I haven't yet, but it fits perfectly.
Yeah, I was thinking you might have to cut the tail off.
I might have to cut this bottom to get it set flush, but I kind of feel like it's bendable enough it doesn't need to. It almost fits perfect.
Right. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. So
yeah.
You've got Star Wars tomorrow night.
I got Meng on Meng on Tuesday night. And then I don't have anything again until the 17th, and that's prep school, and then KSGAR on the 18th. Nice. I don't know what we're doing for next Spoopy Boys. I've talked to Colin and see what movie.
Try and find some holiday themed stuff, maybe.
Yeah, I just want to. I want it to be since last episode was 2 hours, it needs to be a short episode this time. So I'll probably pick one movie and talk about it. I like to do the fluctuation of 1 week. It's like a bigger thing, or Nashy Boys, and then the next time it's like a one movie or one shorter subject. It works pretty well. Also, before we go, so one of the guys I buy heads from ran a special where it was mystery box. Like 5 or 6 heads for like $7. But it was just mystery. So I got 2 of them, and I'm really only keeping this many. So you have a pile of heads coming.
Ooh, I do like heads.
Some of them are really cool. They just don't fit body for me. I might have a little bit more because I think I might already have this cool ass head.
No.
If I do, and then I don't know if you need a skeleton head or not, but I got a skeleton head in here.
I like skeletons. I could just use it as a skull.
Yeah. Also got this. It might be too small for me to use, which is this cool like Cthulhu-esque head.
Yeah, it's Cthulhu. You could fudge it a bit, but
yeah, unfortunately, some of the lady heads were just too big.
Oh.
And I was like, oh man, those are not going to work on Motu characters. Also, at some point, Matt, I would love for you to come on something or just come over and we can work on taking apart Hasbro Star Wars dudes, because I'd like to big old lady heads. That was the name of my EP. She got a big old lady head. I had a coffee this morning with caffeine, if you can't tell.
Yeah.
I'm almost sweaty. That's how excited I am about this.
Yeah, I have not had any caffeine today, so
you're a better man than I. So find Matt. Love Matt. Love Matt. And then hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow for Star Wars. Hopefully some of the things we talked about today will come to fruition, or hopefully they won't, and she'll go off the rails, and we'll have to get real inventive with things, because man, do I love that. Also, I don't know if I mentioned it here, but Take Me Home, Mulfay Road, Dead on the Vine, just couldn't get a lot of people behind it. So instead, because I just got Sword of Hyperborea, I am digging deep back into Hellboy. So a Hellboy miniseries will be coming soon.
Nice.
Because it needs to happen. It's 5e with some changes, and I know I have a built-in group for that. I was excited about it, Super Spike, but I also I could take a bunch of that and put it other places.
Yeah, it's not wasted effort. It is a bummer, but yeah, at least you can do something with it.
I have offered. I know James is planning on doing something for Sarah and for Greta. And I have offered to be like, hey, if you want to play, I will run for you. And if that happens, I will use a bunch of the fun, super low key town stuff for that. Because I think that's far more in that realm. Also, Michael, Big Mike is going to be hopefully doing a Beyond the Wall and Other Stories game soon, and that there's a lot of that game's great, and it's basically perfect mishmash of 5th edition and 2nd edition. And I absolutely love it. And if he does that, I hopefully will be able to pick a little bit of that, because it is definitely like your small town peoples. Take Me Home, Bigfoot Tracks, exactly. So thank you guys very much. Hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow night for Scum and Villainy. If not, hopefully we'll see some of you on Tuesday. I know Colin's going to be working on Rivendell. I am probably beginning cutting. Jiminy Christmas. I am hopefully going to be working on cutting some stuff off, some sprues, and gluing some stuff together.
Ooh.
I don't think I'm going to do a bunch of painting tomorrow, although I might. Also, I want to show this off a little bit, get your impression, Matt. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to make myself big.
Oh.
Maybe? Okay, good.
There you go.
I'm going to embiggen myself. Oh, no, Chuck! So it's a hay bale, right?
Yeah. It looks good. It's a good looking hay bale.
All speed paint.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like it turned out pretty good. I got to do the brown around the roping. So far, all speed paint. I'll need a good dry brush around the head of this fat alien guy. But the red looks really good on the skin. Those two are okay. This is what I'm actually pretty happy with.
Ooh, yeah.
Just speed paint. So I think it makes the blue armor look really good.
Yeah.
I kind of got like a squad of these dudes, all from different games and miniature lines.
Yeah, those are looking nice. Dig it.
Let's see how much I can do with just speed paint, and then go back over with dry brushing. This one I really like because it's an alien. I feel like the putrid green speed paint makes the head look really cool. Although I might have to do a little bit more on it because it's one side it kind of. And then last but not least, this was a 3D print.
Oh, nifty.
An alien lizard man with 2 swords. And I was like, fuck yeah, this guy can hang in this squad.
Lizard man.
There's a guy whose company is called EC3DM, who does 3D printing and like Kickstarters and stuff, and he's from St. Paul.
Oh.
And he does like digital file stuff, and I have bought a lot of stuff from him. I've done almost every Kickstarter he's done. He also does comic books in his settings. He's great, and I highly recommend his stuff. So, yeah, I think he has a Patreon still too. Oh, you let me know because I'm always looking, but I have so many miniatures. It's disturbing. So thank you guys.
Yes, thanks everybody.
Have a good rest of your Sunday. Get some relaxing in.
Yeah, watch some Star Wars tomorrow. Enjoy it. It's gonna be great.
Should be pretty good. Oh, that is a good band. Alien Lizard Sword Friend. That'd be a good name for a production company.
Yes.
Alien Lizard Sword Friend. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Matt, enjoy Godzilla.
I will. I'll let you know how it is.
Bye.